Good morning, everybody. Welcome to me. So this is the Sip, Sew, and Tell that I'm going to do every month. And so, we're going to be talking about the makes from the previous month, my sewing plans for this month, any contests that I'm having, and any Q&A that I get in comments. I'll be answering in this monthly series. Okay, so the first thing is I go over it in basically all my videos. I have a video there that explains why I do my sew-alongs the way I do them. And so I just want to briefly tell you, in this video as well, why I do my sew-alongs the way I do them. Meaning I don't, whatever that sewing technique is, I may not do it in the order. So when we come to like an invisible zipper, in that portion of the video, I always direct you back to a tutorial that I already done regarding that, whatever that sewing technique is. So why do I do that, right? Do you know how many invisible zippers you will be sewing in garments? How many facings you will be doing, how many, collars, you will be doing in videos. And it takes, to film it is not the issue. The editing part is the issue. So I try to only have repetitive things, in the video, and any specific tutorial about a major sewing technique I've already done, and I'll just refer you to that tutorial. So in my sense is, it really doesn't matter when you see that tutorial. So if you see it when we actually get to that portion in the tutorial, if you look at it then versus if you look at it at the beginning of the tutorial, there's really no difference. You're going to look at it anyway, right? So, but that saves me time of editing, because in garments that I do, I may do 3 invisible zippers, in each one of the garments that I'm doing, and to have to film it and edit it, the same process, it just takes time. It just doesn't make sense. So I did one tutorial for it, and when we get to that particular section, I always refer you back to the tutorial. But in the beginning, I tell you just to look at the tutorial in the beginning. So when you get to the actual portion in the video, you already looked at it, you already know how to do it. If you need to, you can actually follow along with the tutorial and actually do that portion of whatever particular garment that we're doing at that time. But basically that's a win-win for you and me, because you actually still get a full-on sew-along with all the tutorials. And for me, it's a win-win because I only have to do it once, right? I only have to film the tutorial, edit the tutorial once, because doing it in separate garments, the steps are exactly the same. I don't change up the steps. So, there's no real need for me to keep filming it, over and over the same techniques. So that's why it's a win-win. And that's why I do my sew-alongs the way I do them. Okay. I announced the winners for April's giveaway. There's 3 winners. You still have until tonight basically, to claim it. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link here so you can go see it. So May's giveaway contest and rules. Okay, so for May's contest, hopefully I can list each one of the criteria up here. So the first criteria is, one, you have to be subscribed to my channel, okay? And I can only see the ones that's public, that, you know, that you let your subscriptions known to the public. Those are the only ones that I can see. If your subscriptions are private, I cannot see those, right? So if your name is called at the end of this, you will probably just have to take a screenshot to show that I am, you know, part of your subscriptions, but you can still keep it private. And so that way you can still be part of this contest. And so the next thing is, I'm going to pick a random video from whatever videos that I do for the month of May. I'm going to do a random pick at the end. But in each one of those videos, I'm going to pose a question. I don't know when throughout that video I'm going to pose it, but I'm going to pose a question. You have to actually list the answer in the comments within a week of me publishing that video. Okay, so you know, you just want to be fair. Don't want to, you know, pick the video at the end and then at the end everybody watch that video to say, yeah, this is, you know, what that answer was. No, once that video was published, you gotta post that answer within a week of that video being published. Okay. And I will be, so it runs from May the 2nd to May the 28th. So I will be picking the video on May the 28th. And the winner on, I want to say the 31st. I want to say how that's going to work. May sewing plans. So I decided to try to, get more organized with that. So I'm going to try to sew a top, which could include a tunic, a bottom, which could be skirts, pants, shorts, things of that nature, and a full length, which could be a dress, a jumpsuit. So for May, I actually started this in April. I cut it out and everything, but I was short fabric. So I'm going to move this to May. So this is Simplicity's S95 45. And the reason why I was short is I had to add more to the side seams because I had to go up a size. So that was one thing. And two, I wanted the longer flounce here. So I was sewing view B, but I wanted the flounce from view A. But I did my calculations because I didn't know at the time that I wanted the longer skirt. So I did my fabric calculations based on view B. So I'm a little short. So, and the fabric that I need is currently out of stock. So, but it said it'll be back in stock soon. So hopefully I can get to this in May. So this will be the top that I'm sewing for May. Okay, again, Simplicity's S95 45. I'll be sewing view B, but with the longer flounce from view A. Okay. For the bottom, I will be doing McCall's M6966, which is just a maxi skirt. You know, we're getting close to summertime and, you know, you want nice and flowy, airy type of garments. And my plan is to sew view C, okay, which is this one right here. Okay, and let's go back to this one. For this one, I'm going to give you the fabric choices. So batiks, chambrays, cotton blends, gauze, gingham, linen blends, poplin, and shirtings. And I want to say I have a linen blend. I think it's linen and rayon, but I'm just waiting for that one to come back in stock. Now, going back to this one. All right, so the fabric choices are your jerseys, interlock, cotton knits, and novelty knits. Jersey is, you know, can basically is your lightweight ones. Interlock is a little bit heavier or thicker than a jersey, is the best way I can explain it. Cotton knits, just think of your cotton is a cotton, that kind of texture, but it's a knit too, so it has stretch to it. And so honestly, I would probably want to do this in a cotton knit, just because it has a little bit more weight to it, but because it's a cotton, it is breathable. So I'll probably pick a cotton to do with this. I do not have a fabric on hand for right now, so I will be steadily looking for a fabric so I can get this and start sewing. That's one of the things that I need to try to do, is have the fabric already in hand, but I'll get better. I'll get better at that. So the last one is the full length, and for this month it's going to be a jumpsuit, and its simplicity is 94.80. 94.80. So this is our full length one that we're going to do, and it's a jumpsuit, and I plan on doing the ankle length one, which is view B. Yeah, it's this one. It's the blue one. View B, the ankle length one. I'm sorry, the calf. I keep saying ankle. I'm sorry. It's the calf length one that I plan on doing. And I don't know, this fabric to me either looks like a lawn or a gauze. I can't really tell. And I wish they would actually tell you. You know, it would be so lovely to know what they're using, right? But anywho, I digress. So I would either be doing this out of lawn or a gauze. And so for fabric choices, they have crepe de chine, rayons, batted batiks, cotton lawn, gauze. Okay. So again, view B for that. All right, so those are my planned makes, and hopefully I can get to all of those. For right now, I will be showing you my show and tells for that I did for the month of April. I only got to 2. I don't even know why. You know, some of those months you just don't feel like sewing that much. So I just didn't. So I only got 2, and one is finished. The black and white one that you'll see, that's actually completely finished. The peach one is not finished. The peach one, I did the underlining on because it was sheer. You can see through it. So the bodice part, the front, I did an underlining, but it had a front band. So instead of single layer doing a double fold, it was already 2 doing a double fold. And my sewing machine is just your regular low end, I would say, home sewing machine. And I'm not sure it can take buttonholes in that many layers of fabric. So I want to take it to a tailor to actually just make the buttonholes, because I don't want to go through the whole process of making that garment and I can't do the buttonholes and I mess it up, and just you know, I'll just pay a little extra money just to have them do the buttonholes. So you may see me you know, with the safety pin for the buttonholes there, because that hasn't been done yet. So I'll insert that clip now so you can see. Okay, so this is McCall 7985 in view A. So just giving you a close-up of the bodice and the turnaround. You see the back is more sheer than the top of the bodice. Now you just see me moving my arms so you can see range of motion, that is not restricted in the armholes or the bodice around the shoulders and the chest area. Showing you that the bottom part is sheer versus the top part. I did an underlining, so it is opaque, meaning not sheer. And there's where a buttonhole is supposed to be, but that's my safety pin. So let's talk a little bit more in depth about this blouse. Again, it is McCall 7985. I made view A. Made a size 18 wide. I didn't put when I started it, but I finished it on April the 17th. The settings, I used a straight stitch, which on my machine is a 00 to 01. I did use a walking foot. I used a Microtech number 10 needle and 100% poly thread. At the time, my bust is 45. I did a bicep adjustment of 1 inch and 3/4 on the sleeves. I had to make a smaller fabric drawstring because my casing just under the bust was smaller than intended. And just for me and my pleasure, I added a little poofiness to my cap sleeve. So again, I used, so the fabric is a coral pink 100% poly crepe de chine. It was 56 inches wide. The price was $2, and the care is gentle wash. I don't remember where I got this from, but I'll make sure to start making notes of where I got the fabric from. So I don't want to give you the item number because I don't know where I got it from, and it's old. It's been in my stash for a minute. So the fabric category is a woven. It is flowy and soft. It drapes close to the body, and it is sheer. Okay, and so that's the reason why I did underlining to the bodice, so it will become opaque at the bodice. The stretch is none, doesn't have any. So review questions. Did it look like the photo drawing on the pattern envelope once you were done sewing with it? Yes. Were the instructions easy to follow? Yes. What did you particularly like or dislike about the pattern? Everything was good with the pattern. It was fine. Pattern alterations or design changes you made. Briefly already went over this, but I added a puff cap to the sleeves. I did a bicep adjustment at 1 3/4 inches. I underlined the bodice piece for modesty purposes, and I made the casing a little bit smaller. And finally, will I sew it again, and would I recommend it to others? Yes, I would definitely sew it again. I would probably use a different suggested fabric to sew it the next time to see what that looks like in a different fabric choice. This project cost me a total of $7.74 to complete. Okay. Let's see, the pattern itself cost $1.99. I had the thread on hand, but I never count that in it. Interfacing I had on hand, but again, I never count that, but the interfacing was on the neck band. The fabric was crepe de chine. Again, it was $2 a yard. I used 2 1/4, so that is $4.25. I will use 4 buttons, and that's $1.50. So for a total of $7.74. Okay, so total time to complete this project. So prep time, so that's everything that's included before you actually start sewing. So that's cutting out your pattern, cutting out your fabric, interfacing anything, things of that nature. So all your prep. So it was 3 hours and 25 minutes to do the prep work, sewing and ironing. Once you sew a seam, you gotta iron it, okay? So sewing and ironing took a total of 6 hours and 30 minutes for a total project time of 9 hours and 55 minutes to complete this look. So this was McCall 7985. Next up is Simplicity's S9470. I did view B, but I did the length of view A of the flounce. Okay, this is just me showing you the pleats, and because of the pattern design, it's kind of hard to see that, but this is me showing you the neckline, how it's nice and flat because of the understitching. Just me twirling around so you can see a full view. This is what I consider semi-sheer and translucent. Let's light through, but it's not
see-through. This is me showing you range of motion for the armhole and chest and back area around the shoulders, so the garment is not restrictive. All right, so let's go in a little bit more in depth about this project. Again, it was Simplicity 9470. I did view B, but with the view A length of the flounce. I started it on April the 25th and finished it on April 30th. I cut a size 22 and I added a 1/2 inch to the side seams to up it a size. For the settings, machine settings, I did a straight stitch, which is a 0001 on my machine. I did use a walking foot microtex needle, which is 7010, and I used 100% poly thread. Bust measurement was 45. So I added a 1/2 inch to the side seam, so a 1/2 inch equals one size up, which was to a 24 here, size 24. And I sewed a 1/2 inch side seam allowance. I'm sorry, I sewed a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I did the zipper allowance at 5/8. Okay, the equivalent gave me a 4.5 inch ease at the bust. And I used a single fold 1/2 inch hem allowance. All right, now let's look at the fabric. It is a rayon chalice. It was 56 inches wide. It was 100% rayon for the fiber. It's listed as very lightweight at 3 ounces, but it felt heavier than that. The item number, I got it from fabric.com, and the item number is 0772641. I paid $5.88 a yard for it, and the care is wash cold, tumble dry low. It is classified as a woven fabric. The silhouette is flowy and soft. It drapes close to the body, and it is semi-sheer. Moving on to the review questions. Did it look like the photo drawing on the pattern envelope once you were done sewing? Yes, it did. Were the instructions easy to follow? Yes, they were. What did you particularly like or dislike about the pattern? Nothing. It was all good. Very good pattern. Pattern alterations or design changes you made. I added a 1/2 inch to the side seams, which upped the size by 1 to a size 24, which obviously is not on the package. I just upped the size, and basically that added 2 inches to the bust area. When I sewed the seam allowance, I sewed it at a 1/2 inch. I just always do that. There's no in particular reason. I just always sew try to have my seam allowances at a 1/2 inch. And my zipper allowance at 5/8 of an inch. Would you sew it again, and would you recommend it to others? Yes, I would sew it, and I do recommend it to others. I would just use a different fabric suggestion just to get, a different silhouette, and to get practice with another fabric. So moving on to cost and materials. Okay, so the pattern itself was, so the total cost of this project was $15.07. So the pattern itself was $1.99. The thread I have on hand, interfacing I have on hand, so I don't count those. The fabric I use 1 3/8, which is equivalent to 1.375 at $5.88. So that's a total of $8.09. And I used one invisible zipper, which was a 20 to 22 inch long invisible zipper. That was $4.99. So for a grand total for this project is $15.07. And lastly, the total time to complete this project, total prep time, which again is everything besides sewing. That was 2 hours and 5 minutes. The sewing and ironing was a total of 3 hours and 35 minutes. For a grand total to complete this project was 5 hours and 38 minutes. So this completes Simplicity's 9470 review.
And lastly is your requests for SewAlongs or pattern spotlights. Do you have something that you want to me to do a sew along to, or a pattern that you want me to do a pattern spotlight on? If so, leave it in the comments below of this video and I'll put it in the queue, because obviously I want to do things that we both like, you know, honestly, but you know, I want to see what it is that you guys, you know, will prefer to see done in those two categories. All right, so all right, everybody have a great day and a great May.